And we're back. Let's see here. Okay. So we're a little later today, as I said on my Facebook, just because there were things going on this morning, and I was actually very busy working on my page. The new page, you might suspect or assume, no. Still on page 18, which I will be working on here and there while I'm on today. And then once I cut this, I'll be working on certainly for the rest of the day pretty intensely. As people know who watch the show, I'm usually trying to start a new page every Saturday morning. I should be, if I was on schedule, starting page 19, which doesn't look like too bad a page. Like, I don't think it'll drive me too crazy. Unlike page 18, which is driving me crazy, which I am, the reason I'm behind now, one of the reasons I'm behind is that it's a dense, complicated, pain in the butt page. That's one reason it's taking me a while. Reason number two is I had a gap in my reference prep, my research prep. This is a scene, like a space, a set, or whatever you want to call it, that only really appears on this page in the whole comic. Like, it's the only time you see this space. And I had done a really good job preparing all my references and my assets and building SketchUp models when need be and all that stuff for different sets throughout DVSM 1979. And I had just spaced on this one. For some reason, I thought I had done it. And then when it came to starting and drawing the page, I was like, okay, let's pull up that model so I remember how it's all laid out and, you know, all the little details I kind of figured out for the set design, basically, virtual set design. I realized, like, I never did that. I have all the stuff. I have all the images and everything I was going to use to build a SketchUp model of it, so then I could see it better and rotate it around and do whatever I needed to do, but never actually did the model. So I spent the first couple days of this page, not even the first couple days, first day of this page, making a SketchUp set for this place, which I think if you follow my Instagram, I think I shared like a snap of it. So that slowed me down. And then, like I said, it's a complicated page. There's a character, there's a military character in uniform, and that's always a drag because there's all these little details that you want to get right. I'm not one of these people. There are other things that I will clue in, like zero in on as correct or incorrect when I'm looking at something. I don't know a lot about military stuff, soldier stuff, like what uniforms looked like in certain eras. But there are a lot of people out there who really know about that stuff. And the last thing I want is, I mean, there's always something that, you know, might check somebody out of your work. But that's like a very easy thing to either disengage a person or that they'll appreciate if that's their thing. Other examples would be like getting the car right, the Dodge right in DVSM 1975. I'm not really a car guy. If I drew that Dodge wrong, or if I saw an incorrect drawing of a Dodge Monaco from the 70s, I wouldn't know if it was right or wrong. But some people really, really would know, and it would really affect their enjoyment of the comic if you got it wrong. Same with like military uniforms. Same with like weapons. Same with anything else. Same with the period details. You know, if you're old enough to remember these years I'm talking about, it will annoy you, probably, if like I throw in something that's anachronistic or just doesn't look right, or it's not actually how people, you know, wore their hair in that era or wore their clothes or whatever the thing was. Anyway, so getting this guy's uniform right, which is surprisingly complicated. Take my word for it. I don't know if you've ever gone down one of these research rabbit holes with like, what did a security force, Air Force guy look like in 1979? What would his uniform? it's weirdly hard to get a beat on that. So I was getting that straight. And then finally, why I'm behind, no Squatch, not because I'm streaming, is because day job was a nightmare this week. I just got I won't go into the details. I wouldn't go into the details of my work anyway, but I got 2 nightmare cases dropped in my lap, which in a way is good. It keeps me busy at work, makes me feel useful there. But there were some late evenings and it was preoccupying me, and I felt like I just wasn't as productive with comic stuff as normally I was because my head was on day job stuff. Anyway, here is my gold tier goal for this weekend. The gold tier goal is to finish page 18 today sometime, even if it's 11:59 p.m. tonight, that it's finished. That would be, and I think it's doable, but that would be gold tier. That would be like, whew, wow, I managed, I pulled it off. The silver tier goal is to finish page 18 sometime tomorrow and get a good start on page 19 sometime tomorrow. That's silver tier. The bronze tier, thanks for playing, I'm not going to feel great about it. In fact, I wouldn't even feel really good about it, would be finish page 19 this weekend and barely start page 19. I'm really going to try and get gold tier today, which is why I'm not going to stream too long. As soon as I'm done with this preamble and doing chat and figuring out if anyone's going to pop on or wants to pop on and get them on, I'm going to be trying to draw a little bit while I'm talking, which I don't like doing. It's why I don't like doing it in live streams. I do very, very basic work on live streams. I set up documents. I draw out my panels. I paste in dialogue from my spreadsheet. I'm not doing anything that requires a lot of concentration. But as soon as I'm okay, now I'm drawing, I usually log off. It's because I need to focus. I'm going to try and chip away at the drawing. I know I'm not expecting to be super productive while I'm doing this, but so there's at least some momentum. In terms of where I think I am with 18, so it's a 6-panel page. I would say 2 of the panels are 100% done or very close. The rest of the panels are 75% done. So I've got, it's getting there. I can see it. I can see the matrix. I can look at this and picture what it's going to look like when it's done. All the basic things are in place. Right now, it's a lot of finessing, and it's doing the plaid on the protagonist's jacket again, which always takes a while. And, that if you're an artist, you can get basically your shapes and your lines down, and that's basically done. And that's most of it. But now there's all this stuff to make it look interesting or cool or at least finished. And that is at least half the time. I think you can get the basic thing done very quickly, but then you're spending the rest of the time kind of, doing all this little stuff. All the backgrounds are done, which is good. It's just, I think I can finish today, but we'll see. We'll see. It would be great. I would feel good if I finished today. I would feel like I wasn't that behind. And like I said, the next page shouldn't be so bad because it's mostly one character. You're watching a character navigate through a little top secret facility. So it's more about setting. You're seeing this character in it, but you're more seeing the weird gated doors and the weird hand scanners and all the little things to get into this very secure place. The point of the page is really just to show it's this kind of buildup. It's like that scene in Silence of the Lambs when Clarice is working her way to Lecter's cell in the basement. There's all these gates, and like it's just to build this anticipation of like ultimately like, well, what's behind this door? Like, where is she going? What are we going to see when she gets there? It's something that I brought up, I think, in the last podcast I did with the Making Comics guys, Keith Foster and Scott Lost, where I was talking about I think I was bringing it up there. I know I brought it up recently. When I kind of organize my pages, I try to make it so every page, I can point to some idea that you're giving the reader on that page. There was either something you learned about a character, or something you learned about whatever, the aliens, or something you understood about a set or a setting, or some idea, some narrative idea that I've introduced, some plot, whether it's a plotty thing like, you know, Dinosaur Martian War stuff, or more of like a thematic thing. Like I touched on this idea in the between the lines. But every page has something on it that I think is important. In a way, it's probably like the most primary way you want to work. I think you want to organize a comic page by page. It's like, what's the idea on this page? What are you telling the reader on this page? What are you telling the reader? Sometimes there's a few things you're telling them, but you at least want to be telling them one thing. It bums me out when you're like reading a comic and you just read like 2 or 3 pages and you realize like nothing, I didn't really get anything from that, like that I needed. Nothing got advanced. I didn't learn the characters better. I didn't understand the plot better. I didn't get an idea introduced. I didn't see anything new. It's just stuff happened. And so I try to like make it so every page you're getting something new. You might have to hunt for it a little bit, but there's if you came to me and it's like, what was this page about? I could say like the main idea in this page was blank. Okay, I see Frank might hop on. Before I send him a link, I want to do 2 housekeeping items. First of all, I brought up Keith Foster and Scott Lost from the Making Comics podcast. They both have Kickstarters going right now that are winding down. I think they're in their last few days. If you have not checked them out yet, please look for them. I'll add the links later in this description, but I think, maybe I didn't have a link in last week's. I don't know. I'll add links here, and then when this is done. But otherwise, you could seek them out. Google Scott Lost Comics. Google Keith Foster Kodoja. You know, and I'm sure you'll find their Kickstarters. Consider supporting them. They're great guys, and they're great indies, and they have books you should read. So check them out. On the same note, I am now a proud owner of Josh Kemball's Jacob's Apartment. I have read it, and I really enjoyed it, and I want to save for next time a little more of an in-depth talk about it. What I would really like to do, and this is why I'm kind of holding off for now. So I almost said Jacob. Josh is in Toronto, I think, for like a con, basically. What I would like to do, just for a change of pace, is maybe have him on next weekend or whenever he's available and talk to him about the book. Kind of Charlie Rosie, but with less touching, less inappropriate touching. But in the meantime, I really enjoyed it. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it anywhere books are sold. You can go to your comic book shop. If they're not carrying it, you could ask them to order it for you. Jacob's Apartment, I don't remember how much it was. It was cheap. I thought $20 or something, which is, it's a fairly fat, full color book, which is a good deal. So to be continued on this. And then finally, something that's going to come up, maybe I'll have more details next week. So I had lost or loaned out or something my copy of They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers by Gray Barker. This is one of the classic, I mean, it's not that old, but it's kind of one of the classic Men in Black oriented nonfiction, books about Men in Black and the UFO conspiracy stuff. It's got tons and tons of stories of weirdo Men in Black encounters. Like I said, I don't know what happened to my copy. I had it years ago. I can't find it now. Maybe the government took it, but I reordered it because I wanted a copy, especially for a future DVSM. I was thinking ahead of I want to get my research right. And Amazon, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Whoever I happened to order it from, not Amazon, didn't say Amazon, some company, wherever I ordered this, accidentally sent me 2 copies. So I think there's going to be a giveaway. You can get your own copy of They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers. I don't know how I'm going to award this to somebody. If you have ideas, leave it in the chat or the comments or something. But I think there's going to be a giveaway in the future, where someone's going to be able to get their very own copy of They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers. Think about it. Suggest a cool way to distribute that. So I think that's, Squatch, think of a good contest that you can win. Best, see, Squatch, Frank has the right idea. He's thinking of contests that are just a lock for him. You gotta figure out something. Okay. Frank, let's see here. You know what? Actually, I like the sound of that. This is right, and that is a gift in and of itself, Squatch. I'm honoring my number one fan. So I mean, that transaction's closed. What are you going to do to get that book? I really like this idea, but I haven't decided yet. I'm going to think about it. You should be honored. How many people, I can't even imagine, it would be, I'm trying to think of something that I'm a desperate crazy fan of, that if the creator named their live stream after me, even if it is a little winky, even if it is a little snarky, whatever, man, I would be delighted. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, this isn't a good analogy, but if Frank Cho was always working Gary on his live, that would be crazy. A little bit, but I love you, man. I love you. Okay, let's see if Frank wants to hop on. Okay. Okay. Sent Frank a link. If anybody else feels like popping on, I guess I should always say, if you're interested in appearing, reach out to me wherever we're in contact, and I'll send you a link and you can hop on. Okay, I'm gonna wait till he pops up so I can let him in, so he doesn't just sit there forever. But then I'm probably gonna switch to my page and try and chip away at that, because let's see here. When are we going to announce my divers? That's a good question. I think, we need to figure that out, because Actually, maybe this is a good segue, and this is to plant the seed with you, Squatch. So sometime early next year, sometime before con season, before next summer, I will be doing my very first Kickstarter. Because I'm going to basically, here's the plan right now. Wow, I don't know if these are big exclusives, but 4 people are watching, so who cares? I don't know. A lot of people rewatch these, but none of this, I'm not going to commit to any of this. This is still very early. This is like a little less than a year away, but just to let you know, like kind of what I'm thinking. I think next year I'll be kickstarting a pulp edition of DVSM 1979, like in the lead into Phoenix Fan Fusion 2023. Because at that point, DVSM 79 will have been out for a while. I will probably, knock on wood, if the previous ones are any guide, I'll probably have sold out of 79 at that point. So I'll be doing a reprint of the pulp edition of 79. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is I think I'm going to do my first trade, which will be 75, 97, and 79 in one book, maybe with some bonus stuff. I don't know what yet, like maybe an interview, maybe like some behind the scenes stuff, like some of the SketchUp models of sets and things, so you can see all that stuff. Maybe like, I don't know, early sketches of the Men in Black from 75, like just whatever. They'll probably do like a back section that's just making of bonus material. But there'll be a trade, like a perfect bound, fat, and that will probably be like 150, 160, 170 pages. Like when you combine those 3 comics and then the extra stuff I was thinking of, like that's a lot. In addition, depending on what level we get to with the Kickstarter, what I might have is like stretch goals are variant covers. Because I just had a good experience doing a variant cover for Scott Serkland. And I liked the idea, maybe, we could do the same thing. So you would be like, of course, number 1 on the list, Squatch, of like, all right, we could offer some variant cover of 1 or more, or maybe of the trade. I don't know. Maybe the trade could have variant. I don't know if people do that. You're the comic guy. You can tell me, is it weird to do variant trades? But like something where like, I would rather push 79 at the time. I don't know. Well, see, this is, again, it's early. I haven't figured it all out. But like, so there could be, like when I've participated in other comic Kickstarters, there's like usually a level where then you can pick, they're all about the same amount, but you pick like whose variant cover you want. It could be a Squatch cover. It could be a Serkland cover like him. Because we did just like you owe me a favor kind of deal with my variant cover. So yeah, I don't think you see. Yeah, I agree. And plus with a trade, that's I think it'd be floppies. So, and I don't know if it would be. It could be any of the original 3 or just 79, since I'll be pushing 79 at the time. I don't know. Like we'll see. But yeah, like there's a Squatch variant cover, there's a Serkland variant cover, and then whoever else I can rope in who'd be interested in doing it. But I am, and this is another thing, Squatch, I wanted to get your opinion. So tabling with Keith and Scott, I made 2 observations. So they have trades. They have enough books where they're doing trades once in a while. And my impression was, while collectors like floppies, like everybody buys a trade. Like the trade is a very hot seller. And they seem to be content to just eventually just stop reprinting the floppies. Just like once you've got them in a trade, don't reprint the floppies anymore. Tell me if that's a ridiculous perspective. Now, I know for collectors that would be great because now there's no more floppies in the ecosystem. Like you're kind of like, well, if you missed it, like now it's the trade. I'm selling trades now. But I don't know. I'd be curious about your thoughts, Squatch, like what you think about that. But so if that's the case, if I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do floppies anymore, or not reprint floppies anymore, I would be doing floppies of 79, or No, actually, I would do some initial floppies of like 79 for people who have 75 and 97 and they want, I don't want to screw them by now selling them a trade when they already have most of that. And the Pulp Edition of 79, but then the trade. And then going forward, I would gradually let 79 sell out completely. And all I would have left of the first three, all I would offer would be trades. And then with the next one, DVSM 2001, floppies and floppies for the one after that, and then floppies for the last, but then a volume 2 trade that's like DVSM Part 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that would sort of be the vision. Yeah. Okay. So that's I like that idea just for an inventory management perspective. Like the idea of like going to cons like 3, 4, 5 years from now and still figuring out how many 75s should I print sounds terrible. Like that's what's attractive about a trade. Like if I can compile like, the first 3 into a book and then the second 3 into a book, and now you've got 2 volumes. And then maybe someday, I don't know, one giant DVSM Bible that's all 6 stories. That's way easier to deal with, printing wise, inventory management wise, pitching wise. Like if I have to maintain those and then all these weird floppies and figure out, no, that's why I got out of the print business, like poster prints. Like I hated trying to figure out how many to have and hauling them all to cons and whatever. Let's see here. Yeah, like you kind of, I think there wouldn't be like an absolute like, well, that's it, no more. But I think I would just be sensing like as soon as I felt like I just was not selling as much, I wouldn't feel a lot of pressure to reorder. It'd be like, 75 has run its course floppy wise. If you want 75, you got to pick up trade, DVSM Volume 1, something like that. And then, hey, I'd be all for it. Okay, let's see here. Chase's. Okay, I'm going to bring Frank on and then I'm going to read Chase's comments. Frank, how's it going, man?
Good to see you.
Okay, let me see. Slightly late. But are you doing the first trade collection after DVSM 1979 has been out for a while? I want to spread the gospel of awesome indie comics and get my friends involved. No, I think I'll try to have the trade in time for Phoenix Fan Fusion 2023. So like late May next year. It would be more it wouldn't be initially. I think I would have a trade around the same time as the Pulp Edition of 79, if that helps. And it would be like part of the Kickstarter. I think the main thing with the Kickstarter would be Pulp Edition. Like I've been self-funding all the floppies and I could do that with the Pulp Edition. The main reason I'd want to do a Kickstarter is for the trade because that's a considerable expense. Like again, you're talking about probably 160 or 170 page book, perfect bound. And you want to order enough to you don't want to order 15. You want to order enough where you can not have to reorder for a little while. Like that's at the point where it's like, okay, Kickstarter makes sense to me because I can fund my floppy orders. I don't know if I want to. I haven't even done the math on what it would be to do a trade, but I just don't want to. Like that sounds horrible. Paul, how's it going, man? Let's see here.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, let's see here. Thanks, Paul. I usually don't. This is kind of uncharacteristic of me, but there's something about being at about the halfway point of this series where it makes the end easier to see. And, I just, especially now, I just did a con, like just one day, but just did one now thinking of like, okay, well, next year, knowing I'll have my third one done by then, knowing I'll be probably wanting to do the Pulp Edition, it's weird. It's a little weird. Don't be too impressed. I'm not like this with any other part of my life. It's just totally disorganized and day by day in every other thing. Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see here. Oh, it would be awesome to see you two guys like in person. That would be pretty cool. All right. So I think that's all my housekeeping. Squatch, you think about Kickstarters and variant covers. Probably I will broadcast that louder around the end of this year or early next year, because that's when I'll start going to particular art friends and like, hey, what do you think about doing a variant cover of, it's funny, even though I'll be pushing 79 and it makes sense, like, okay, variant covers for 79, I would love to see other artists take on my characters. Like, I want to see someone draw Jenny. I want to see someone draw the Men in Black. I want to see, so I'll have to think about that. Like, how do I don't know. Maybe there could be a fan, not a fan, but like a other artist print companion for the trade. Like maybe that's a Kickstarter level where you get the trade and then you also get like a print. And the prints could be anything. Prints could be 75 theme, 97 theme, 79 theme. It could be all of them. You could do the
combined
collage of all the characters so far, like whatever. You could just do a giant Mars bot, whatever you wanted. But that might be fun too. So I don't know. Let's see here. As much as I don't want to do floppy installments for my graphic novel, I'll likely need to swallow my pride and print a miniseries run. Yeah, I think I haven't talked about this in a long time, but if you've watched my videos from the beginning, DVSM was originally going to be what I talked about, like a giant anthology book, like one book, where all the chapters were basically what I'm releasing now as floppies. And the reason I decided not to do that is because it would take years and years and years and years and years with like me toiling away and getting nothing's coming out. Like, and I didn't want to be that guy like drawing a comic for 8 years and like, it's coming. Someday it's coming. So that's why I was like, no, I'll break these up and release them individually. And then if I'm lucky enough to finish someday, then I can do the giant book that I had originally envisioned. But fan art to the trades. Let's see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Hey.
I need to do some DVSM fan art.
That'd be pretty cool. Let's see here. I can make them like mystery grab bags and have them kind of, that sounds. See? So yeah. Hey, for a certain tier, is there any kind of age gate on Kickstarter? Can you age gate a tier? That would be.
I'm not sure. I've never done a Kickstarter, so I don't know.
I don't think.
18.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plus.
I don't know if you can. I know you're not being serious, Paul, but now I'm just for. It's funny. That was something I warned my friend Laura, who was the reference model for Jenny. When I was done, I took like 1,000 pictures of her, like literally 1,000 pictures of her, and I had drawn the comic. And I told her, like, just so you know, if this does ever blow up someday, like the internet being the internet, guys are going to be drawing like weird fanfic nudie drawings of you. Just so you know, because the internet. Because that's what they do. Like they draw Wonder Woman naked. They draw Catwoman naked. If there's enough huge mega DVSM fans someday, they will be drawing Jenny naked, and it's kind of weird, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I have no control over that aspect.
That's a conversation that we had early on, Anna and myself, about Captain Goggles and Masked Woman.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
yeah.
Like, there's no.
What can you do? You can't. No, I mean, yeah. But it's funny. I say, yeah, exactly. Like if it ever blew up, people would be like, "Oh, there's going to be a weird subreddit on Masked Women, Masked Woman, where it's that you don't want to go into." Like it's like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, did Squatch tell you to say that? I like don't eat too, Brute. No. Don't. No. You got to be on my side, man. My side. You got to be on my side, and you need to control your boy, Squatch.
I think Paul was saying that he'll draw all the characters while he's in the nude.
Oh, well, that's totally cool. Yeah,
That's okay.
she took it in stride. I think she'd probably be
I drew this
naked,
naked.
flattered if it happened. I don't know, but what we got here?
Chase.
There you go.
Chase, I'm gonna steal your ideas. Just say that for you.
There you go. No, Squatch. No. This is a break. I worked all morning. This is me taking a little breather, sipping some water, maybe having a little bit of chocolate, and then back into it. This is me.
Oh, tomorrow's my birthday.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday. Do you want to say how many candles are on the cake this year?
I'll say I think I'm roughly around Corey's age or Josh's age. Not Scott. I know Scott's older.
Yeah, Scott's I think a little older than me, and I believe
60.
Corey and Josh are maybe about 5 years younger than me or something. I don't know.
How old are you? Maybe we might be around the same age.
47. I'll be 48 in January.
Oh, I'm younger than you.
Okay. Yeah.
By a few years,
not tons, but a little bit.
Yeah. I'm in my 40s.
There we go. Yeah. 40s are the new 30s or something. I don't know.
I don't mind, but I have to be careful sometimes.
On your videos, Squatch. It's different, Squatch. You've read DVSM. These are very intricate little watches, my man. These are very delicate. There's a lot of focus required. You don't understand.
Yeah.
I can't be talking or whatever while I'm creating the next DVSM. It's too intense a process.
Oh yeah. I can't write. I can't do type text when I'm talking.
Yeah.
I can't focus.
Birthday from a Gen Zer. Yeah. I'm I guess I'm at least Gen X. I don't know where you are in the line.
I'm Gen X.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're able to see the chat, right, Frank? Or I don't remember. Can you see the chat on here? Or
which tab?
The YouTube comments.
Oh no, I can see.
Oh, yeah.
I can go in the chats here.
That's
I have to be careful because it'll kick me out.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I was just curious.
Okay, I can see it now. Feliz cumpleaños, Salazar.
That's not what I'm saying, Squatch. No, it's not it at all.
He's digital amusing.
You're playing with Stone Eye bear skins, and I'm on a totally no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just it's a lot of little fine concentrate. I'm not. Maybe I'm just not as good at multitasking as some of you out there.
I'm digital.
I'm a sort of a one thing at a time kind of person. Yeah, same, Paul. I can't. It's also why I don't do like live drawings. I was just telling someone the other day, like, even though I'm in school, like I was the kid who draws, there's nothing like, and a lot of kids who draw, they like that kind of attention and notoriety. There's nothing I hated more than like some 11-year-old with, bubble yum breath looming over my shoulder watching me draw. Like I hated that stuff. So I don't want to be watched. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to answer stupid questions about like what I'm doing. What made you decide to draw that first? I just can't. I just can't. I don't know why I'm that way. I'm sorry. This is a good example of how I'm a little fussy, and I just can't. I can't deal with that kind of distraction when I'm trying to do my thing. But
Yeah, me too. I don't like being watched as I draw because they're like, why are you drawing that? Why are you drawing a naked body? You're like, I have to draw the like
the form
no,
first.
the form.
With Scott's the variant cover I did for him, and originally I just had the figures dropped in sort of, you know, like kind of like art form, like gesture drawings, like naked, and of course, you know, you're putting clothes on, but it looks weird at first. It's not, no, because Squatch is actually an artist, so I would trust him not to ask kind of weird questions like the one I gave, for example, like what made you decide to draw that part first? Like that kind of, I just can't. I don't even know what to do with you right now, man. I don't know what to like, or it's the drawing equivalent of like, where do you get your ideas from? Like, it's just, please, like I'm trying to work. I'm trying to concentrate. I can't feel this right now.
I was on a stream where I hopped on.
Yes. What was which was the gum when we were kids, Frank? That they kind of did like, oh, is Big League Chew the one that they tried to make tobacco?
Yeah,
like,
that looks like if it's tobacco.
Like shredded. Yes. Do they even still sell that? Is that like, because you would think that was
I don't know if they still sell it. I know they sold it not that long ago because I saw some in the store once, maybe a few years ago, but I'd be surprised if they still sell it though.
I would be surprised too because it's like those bubblegum cigarettes they used to have. Like it kind of.
I used to buy those like at a mom and pop shop. Like it was actually in their house, so like you couldn't just get it in the store. You had to like someone that bought them from Mexico or something would sell them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounded sketch for a second.
So, come here,
where you go into the house and they would give you candy. Like, let's finish this conversation off air, please.
I woke up on conscience.
yeah, it was, they'd give you the candy that would make you really sleepy, Not funny. This is not funny. Let's see here.
They don't sell the candy cigarettes anymore, and
I think those maybe can get. They're just really hard to find. Like you can't get them in like a QT or something, but I've seen them. The ones that have like the powder. Remember?
Yeah.
It was a bubble gum wrapped in paper, and it had powder, so you could puff it.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. They were like teaching kids.
Yeah, I would get that. I'll be like,
yeah. Now I kind of want some Big League Chew. Bubble tape. Bubble tape was, yeah. It was like a measuring tape of, it was like a hockey puck of pure gum.
Yeah.
That was nice. And what was the one? Now I'm remembering all the bad candy of my youth. What was the gum that had like a jelly center? Do you remember that? It was like a soft chew of gum, but the inside had liquid in it.
Oh. It wasn't Gushers, was it?
That was a similar one, but I don't think it was the same thing.
I know what you're talking about.
You can remember the label, right? Because it had like a cross section. It was almost like it had the square gum with like a slice cut out of it.
Yeah, and it was cut.
Like the stuff dripping out of it.
Yeah.
Come on, we're not.
Man.
There's other old people in this chat. Yeah, and it was everywhere. Every little boy I knew in school, and they had lots of different flavors. Now that's one I know for sure I've not seen in 20, 30 years. Like that.
Yeah, I don't even remember the name, but I remember you used to see it as a kid. So, yeah.
I forgot about ring pops. Okay, now I'm sorry, I gotta Google this gum thing because if no, is it Hubba Bubba? Is that what that was? I'm
Oh, you know
Googling.
what? I think it might be.
It might be. I gotta look at the.
Hubba Bubba.
No. Okay, let's see here. Gum with, and this sounds weird, but gum with liquid center, 80s. Bubblicious.
Okay.
That was it, right?
Yeah. Okay. That sounds more familiar.
But Hubba Bubba, I don't know. Maybe it.
Was Hubba
Okay.
Bubba similar? Because
Hubba Bubba
or was it
80s.
just gum?
Let's see if that. Okay, it was not Hubba Bubba. Bubblicious 80s. That's not it either. That's not the label that I remember. Oh, this is going to drive me bananas. Come on, chat. Bubbaloo? Okay, we're going to check that one.
Bubbaloo. Was it a pink
These
label?
all look super similar. Like, they probably are. Blue gum. I gotta keep looking at 80s because these modern packages, I can just tell they're. So, okay, it's like this, but it's not like I distinctly remember it was more like a rounded square shape.
Yeah, it's so like a rounded edge.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna freshen up. Freshen up. That's interesting. Let's see here. That could be it. That looks like it. Is that an 80s? Gosh, I don't remember that name being so like medicine cabinety, you know, but that's totally, I mean, that's the package I remember. It must have been freshen up.
It was freshen up?
I think so. I mean, that's what the package. Here, let's see here. I'm gonna share in the chat an image.
I could have sworn it had like Bubba or Bubble was in the name.
I thought so too, but it looks like there's a lot of. So that's that should take you to an image that. It's at least very similar. Okay, my cat.
You can watch the commercials from the 80s on.
I'm gonna let my cat in. Hold on just 1 second. Dude, you could just push your way in. It's not even closed. Okay.
Is it Josh is still
That's
in
the real motto, Squatch. The gum that squirts. That's. I would not fly today. Okay. Bubblicious strawberry splash. Bubblicious is a super, and Hubba Bubba was. I mean, all those could come back to me as like, oh yeah. I saw that. Yeah, the Regal theaters are doing it. I just watched it at home. I think in prep for Crimson Owl like a few weeks ago, so I'm caught up on the thing. But I do know my favorite. This is not going to become the candy chat, but my favorite from childhood was whatchamacallit, the bars.
Oh yeah.
And those
Bars.
I know you can still get because every
Yes.
once in a while, if I've had a particularly bad day or week, I know I can get myself a whatchamacallit bar and relive my youth.
Yeah. Let's see.
What I'm
No,
DM.
Baby Ruth and Payday, they're still around.
I had to translate this. DM'd you. I'm assuming the ad on Instagram, Gary. Got it. I'm sorry, but I'm in
Okay.
internet. Your internet speak confuses and frightens me. Let's see here.
Is Corey in recovery right now?
I was curious. I wanted to check in with him. I know he's participated a little bit on the Artcasters chat on Facebook, so he's at least well enough to do that. But yeah, Corey, I hope you're doing well. He had a medical thing done.
Was I booted? I didn't see anything.
Yeah, so I think he will. It'll be good. He's been.
Yeah, he looked good on, was it Thursday? The Artcasters?
Yeah, he seems to be. I just don't know how easy or difficult the procedure he's getting done is to go through. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure he'll be better off after. I would hope he would feel better real fast. But. Okay.
That was a good show. I was able to catch it early and not miss Jeff Lafferty's stream when I started.
I still need to go back. I started watching the last Artcasters, the one with Marsh was on, and I got pulled away. So I need to. I'll listen to it today while I'm drawing. And then I think Crimson Owl had an episode I didn't watch because, again, I was busy. So I'll probably listen to that while I'm drawing today.
Yeah, I missed his episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing the ones on Thursdays or earlier more because I'm not home at that time.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think, I'm trying to remember. I think the Thursday I was downtown late. So I totally scuttled any of my normal routine. I did get Squatch. I want you to tell me how grateful and impressed you are. I have been resisting playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which came out this week, which is a lot of fun and I have to admit, I was never a huge TMNT comic fan. I wasn't not a fan. I just wasn't really exposed to the comics. I didn't read a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I was a little old for the cartoon and all that stuff, but it was just on the edge where it is a little nostalgic for me, especially that song takes me back. But I haven't been sitting and playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for hours and hours and hours. I've been drawing. And this page will be cool when it's done. It's just one of those pages where it's just fighting me every step of the way. Oh, brother. I did take time to watch the 5th episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm not to show my opinions.
What's that?
I was reading Squatchy's thing. I'm not allowed to share my opinions on topics.
I know. Really?
You saw the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi? I still haven't checked it out.
I am... Fu, It's down here. It's down. It's off screen. You can't see my hands are, this. It's all happening right down here. Right down here. I got my stylus. It's all there's it's below frame. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You shut up right there. Just watch. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be watching the chat closely. So you all are going to have to self-police. And I don't know. There's no way to let me know if there's something I need to be seeing. But anyway. I had nothing to do with that. I had absolutely nothing to do with that. You brought that upon yourself, Squatch. Foo. Come on, man. I need an ally in this. You know the hostility of the Squatch. It's been calling you a furry for like 14 years on the internet. Like, you know that sometimes he needs to chill. He needs to just chill. He needs to just dial it down a little. Not all the way. Not shut it off. Just dial it just a little. Just a little. Yeah, I know you know. Party in the chat. Paul, you're responsible. If your mother and I come home from our trip and this house is in any kind of condition different from how we left it, it's on you, buddy. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm not going to share my page. I don't like doing that. But what I'm going to do...
I was just sketching.
I am going to work on plaid jacket patterns for a few panels. That's a good, achievable goal that doesn't require the most concentration.
Okay.
So what is new with you, Frank? Other than
Let's see.
impending birthday.
That's the only important thing. I did the sketch right now.
Yeah.
The alien. Let's see. I think the comic finally went to print yesterday. I was talking to my guy, and he said, "Oh, Friday it'll go in." But I haven't talked to him yet, so I'm hoping it went to print. So hopefully next week I'll hear something, so I can stop saying it's coming, guys. It's coming.
I promise. Right. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I was on Jeff's show yesterday.
Yes.
No, Thursday. Wait, is today Friday or Saturday? I'm confused.
Today's Saturday.
Okay, yeah, so Thursday after the Artcasters. I was on there, talked a little bit. I won't go into details, but a little bit of a scandal broke out involving me. So I'm trying to.
Yeah, what kind of scandal?
It's not a good one. I was accused of something in the comments.
Accused?
And then they deleted the comment because they realized that's not something you should be accusing. But I took screenshots and I'm messaging a few people to see if we can settle it. But yeah, there's a little bit of a kerfuffle in the comments because I was talking about a Discord server that I used to be in, and I was banned. And I was just talking about that. Oh yeah, I was banned, and well, one of the mods was, decided to chime in and give details of like,
Oh,
and when people were standing up for me, they're like, "Well, he did this," and I'm like, "Wait, what? This is the first time I'm hearing this."
oh my God.
So they deleted their screenshot, their comment, but I took a screenshot, so I'll send to you. I'll talk about.
Yeah, I'm a little, if you are willing to share, I'm a little curious.
Yeah, like I'll talk about it. I just don't want to talk online because that was a thing. Like, oh no, you shouldn't talk about it. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna let it settle down before I. Hopefully it does settle down. So it
Right.
looks like it might be resolved, but
Good.
yeah, just some dumb stuff.
Well, there's,
That was giving me a headache all day today because I was like trying
uh,
to. So yeah.
yeah. Uh, I hope, sometimes I do worry that, I have no real internet drama
Yeah.
in my life. And I sometimes, not too much, but I do worry sometimes that with these live streams, you're online, people come into the chats, you're talking for an hour or two. Like, I could just see, like, like you're kind of, you're not necessarily opening yourself up to that, but it's the more of a presence you have online, the more opportunities there are for something like that to happen. And
Yeah.
but fortunately, and again, maybe because I'm Gen X, I really kind of see the internet as not real anyway. Like, it's hard for me to take it seriously, and I don't have a Twitter. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
I'm not active on any board or anything. Like, even if somehow I said something once that someone objected to, and this is easy for me to say not being in that situation, but part of me is like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, okay, like, you can be butthurt. I don't care. But I think the moment if this ever did become like more of a drag for me than just like a diversion, the the more the more consistent content, the more like being online more and streaming and stuff, I think
Yeah.
I would just stop doing it. I would keep doing comic and everything, but I would just withdraw from like the public aspect of it. Which maybe I shouldn't plant that idea to Squatch, because he might manufacture controversy. So I'll be like, yeah, I'm done with streaming, and he'll be less triggered. Yeah, I'm gonna check the chat now. Are you real, Paul? I'm really not. I'm not talking about Squatch. I'm talking about, like, I don't know, comic book guy from The Simpsons, or like weird people who just, live to argue on the internet. Like, that's their favorite thing, is to, like, I don't know. I think what's funny about the internet is it's it really does seem like just a virtual high school. Like, all these clicks. It's like a virtual high school cafeteria. That's the internet. There's all these weird clicks. There's all these tables where people are gathering. People are mostly cool, but then, like, you have that weird, like, table of anarchists in black trench coats in the corner. And you have the weird table of gossips that are always about, like, did you hear? And did you, oh, they said this. And, oh, you know, like just trying to like make that, you know, make something happen.
Yeah.
It's all that. It's just, I don't know, you know, it's just, but it's, the internet is even, I think, more silly because the vast majority of these people you don't even know, you would never meet in real life. Why do you care? You know, why do you even care what they're saying? Why do you even care
Yeah.
what they're doing? And I look, I'm not above that. I'm embarrassed every time I get drawn into some weird internet debate or something where it's like you have to remind yourself, like, who fucking cares? Like, this is like, do I even know this? I will never know this person. I wouldn't want to know this person. Why? What is the value in this? Like, there's nothing. All it's doing is raising my blood pressure. But I think some people do it for entertainment.
We'd just like to argue.
Squatch, I might slit your throat. I think in its best form, it's look at my sandwich, look at my nails. Like, that's at least a benign version of it, you know? So much of it now is like Gen X again. In the 80s, there'd be a wacko on the corner trying to give you a pamphlet that explained, you know, how like you didn't need a driver's license outside the District of Columbia because of weird conspiracy reasons. You didn't need to pay your taxes, you know, like just, they would give you like, they'd have these weird like things they photocopied at the grocery store. And it was very easy to just look at this guy and go like, you know, just keep walking, don't make eye contact. But now people write the same nonsense or worse on the internet, but there's something about that sterile, kerned text that makes it seem like, oh, maybe there are nanobots in vaccines. Like, just because it looks very like it's written, it appears the same way as the Washington Post does. But, you know, you're not getting it from a guy with a pamphlet on the street corner. The internet itself is fine, I think, and I think is what NX still thinks of as essentially. Yes, correct. Social media is what's, I should specify. You're right. The internet is fine. The internet is actually great in a lot of ways. It's a great invention. Social media is cigarettes. Like, one every 2 years in a bar might be all right, but any more than that, like, you're just gonna make yourself sick. Okay, now back to drawing. I'm not looking at the chat. So, Frank, birthday coming up, 40 something.
Yes.
Do you think much or care much about your age? And
my age?
Yeah, like, do you, like, you know, some people, I don't know, don't love getting older. Like, do you, or
Yeah,
they
like I still, I guess, I still act like I'm younger, so I still feel younger.
Yes.
But I mean, there are some parts where like, oh man, like my knees hurt, my legs hurt, I need to sit down. So like,
Yeah.
So like, oh my arm, like, like I barely moved it, like it's tired.
Right.
So, but not as much. But like I try not to like think about. But there are times like, okay, I just need to sit down, take a little break. Okay, no. Like I don't really take naps, but I'm starting to take once in a while, just not too often, because I'll just like, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'll just sleep in all day. So
Right.
but,
Right. Yeah, I'm not good at naps because I will, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just not a nap person. Maybe I will be, but like I
have to be like
I'll
extremely
go too
tired.
long,
Yeah.
or it doesn't help me. Like I'll like, okay, I'm gonna nap for an hour. Odds are I'm gonna lay there the whole time and like not actually nod off.
Yeah.
Um, but even if I do, like, okay, it's like I'm gonna fall asleep, I'm gonna set an alarm. If I napped for an hour, I feel worse after. I don't know. I don't know what the like. It doesn't make me feel more rested. I think I need to just power through and sleep at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Did you
I have to
ever?
be like really tired. Like, okay, I'm gonna like a nap.
Yeah. Did you ever think much about or care much about getting older? Was that ever like a thing? Was there ever like an age
I, I
where
think
you
like, oh, I can't wait to like to do this and to do that when I'm older. But yeah,
so more like for you, like more like excited to get older?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever had that. Like I don't know. I don't remember ever being like, yeah, excited to be 18 or something. Maybe I was. I just don't remember.
I remember as a, I think I was maybe like 6 or 7, and my brothers, they were in high school, and they would bring back these books, their textbooks from reading class, and I would read them, and there were like all these stories. Like, I can't wait till I'm in high school so I can read these books.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think when I got there, like there were some like that, but not that many. Like they started phasing those out
Yeah.
because there were like storybooks, like past, like history stuff and like folklore and like.
That's cool.
I remember we had some of those. Those were cool. There was a there was one that it had to do with back in the slave times,
Hmm.
and it was like a really interesting story. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. It was like a supernatural story.
Mm.
Yeah, like it was a. But yeah, I shouldn't talk about.
Is it?
There was like interesting stuff that I liked and enjoyed. So I always liked stuff about culture.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking that I was wondering the other day. There were a bunch of children's books I remember really loving as a kid. I wonder. I bet they're not cool anymore. Like I bet they're not. Like I don't know. I'm just assuming like probably Five Chinese Brothers isn't a thing anymore. Like I don't know. I'm just remembering like just the drawings in it. I'm like, yeah, it's
Oh,
probably
okay.
not cool anymore.
I know there was one. I wasn't in the class, but a friend of mine that was like in a reading class, and they were assigned this book, The Chocolate War. So I
The
went
top.
and looked it up, and I was like, oh, this is pretty intense. It's like high s- high school kids, but like they're really like like one's beating up this other kid, and they're trying to sell chocolate bars to raise up money, and they're like actually going to war, and
I kind of love that idea. I remember doing that. That was such a big thing, especially in private school. I went to Catholic school, and
I think it was set in a private school.
yeah, like every year, it was very like looking back, it was very scammy. But like this company would come and they would give like they would show you all this stuff you could win if you sold a certain number.
Yeah, we would do that too to raise money and stuff.
Yeah, and it was all like you know, you're a little kid. You don't realize, you know, they'll show you like a mountain bike or something crazy. And you can't wrap your brain around the fact, like, yeah, you need to sell 2,500 chocolate bars. Like, which you'll be lucky if you sell 18. Like, you're not getting anything. You're not getting anything. But yeah. And I remember most of us, they'd give you a couple, you would say like how many boxes you wanted to try and sell. Most of the kids would give them to their parents to take to work. And then I remember like the ones that had like weird office situations where there were hundreds of people in the office. Those were the kids that were getting like Walkmans and shit, you know, because they sold 800 candy bars. But most of us, I remember most of my friends, you'd be sitting and playing Nintendo with these boxes of chocolate in your room, and you'd be helping yourself. And then at the end, you kind of had to pay out all the chocolate you ate. You know, like it just didn't, like, yeah, you sold like 12 or something. Like it didn't really. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Let's see here. I think the internet social media. Yes. And I guess to be fair, like, look, a lot of, you know, most of my social circle now, I think everyone of a certain age appreciates this too. Like, you get older, your friends move away. Especially if you're like me and you don't have kids. Like, a lot of people in your life have kids, and that changes. Like, it doesn't, it's, you know, I don't want to misrepresent, it doesn't make anything bad, but like they have a totally different life. It's not like, you know, it's just harder to connect as often. But like, especially with the comic community, that's most of my social life. It's like my comic friends. And I don't see that as like, oh, less than, there's no like little asterisks. It's like, well, they're people I mostly talk to through Facebook. It's not like that. It's like, those are, I mean, there are people I've met through this whole comic thing that I consider some of my best friends. But yes, I think, and I'm hoping we'll all get better and better at this, and especially younger people, I'm assuming, since they grew up with it, they're better and better. I think we'll get better and better at tuning and filtering and shaping our social media experience, you know, kind of like smaller but tighter, rather than, you know, 800 friends and you're just getting this like fire hose of a feed. Like, trying to focus on like people you actually know, people you actually would hang out with in real life, people, you know, like something real, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, this is like a friend of a bartender I liked, you know, just like weird random people you're connected to. Let's see here. Yes. And I will say, I think it's rare to have genuine, deep connection and conversation strictly online. But that could just be me and my generation. I find it much easier to connect to a person, at least on the phone, but ideally like sitting across the table, you know, like that's, I've never been able to get the equivalent from like Messenger. Like, that's not a, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, Squatch. Is there a new I didn't even realize there's a new Beavis and Butthead movie. So
There is?
got myself kicked out of private school for reasons too numerous to mention. My reasons were fairly straightforward. I was missing a lot of school. So I went to Catholic schools until about the middle of sophomore year of high school. And then I finished it in public high. So I was never a punk, but I was a little bit of like a grunge, like honorary hippie kid rebelling against the establishment, I guess. But really, I mean, that's kind of putting a nice shiny spin on it. Really, I was just, I was a teenage boy who was unhappy. Like that's really the heart of it. Look, I mean, you're saying it, not me. I don't. I honestly have I don't have an opinion because I don't have kids, but it's just never been. It's never been a thing I was interested in. Okay. And I like kids, and I love my nephew. It's not that I don't like kids. I never felt the call to have my own. Like that was not a thing. Though I did have like a minor, I think, midlife crisis or something like a midlife crisis a few years ago when I had a relationship end, and right on the heels of it, my younger brother got married and had his first kid, my nephew. And I did kind of do the spiral, like, did I miss my window? Was I supposed to do all that? Blah, 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 blah. And it was just FOMO, I think. Like it wasn't, it passed. But I eventually realized, like, if it had been really important to me to have kids, I would have done it. That's very revealing. I don't know if I guess it's fine broadcasting that, but that was sort of my attitude.
Yeah. If it was meant to be, you would have done it.
What's that?
If it was meant to be, you would have done it.
What happened? Yeah. A quarter life crisis. Yeah, I kind of cruised along, and then it hit hard probably when I was early 40s, something like that. I don't know. I didn't do the whole like stereotypical bought a convertible and start dating in it, a 22-year-old stewardess or something. Like, I don't know, whatever the thing. No, but it was like an existential, like, what am I doing with my life? What is it all about? Did I make the right choices? Why am I the way I am? Like that kind of like weird. It was a very inward. It wasn't like an outward, like, oh, Gary's acting out. A midlife crisis. It was very much like a Inui kind of. It was more like a. It wasn't like American Beauty. It was more like a weird '60s French New Wave movie. That's what it was like. Oh. Squatch, you're a rolling crisis. You bring the crisis. Actually, I don't.
You're an infinite crisis.
Infinite, yeah, there we go.
Crisis of infinite squatches.
Okay, I've got a chunk of jacket pattern done. So I'm curious, just because it's been on my mind, who, Frank or in the chat,
sure.
Has seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. I have not. But too many people have told me it's amazing. Like they just loved it. So now I'm kind of, And I don't even know if it's still playing in any theaters in town. I might just have to like buy it or something if I want to watch it. But people seem nuts about that movie.
I have not seen it.
And I still haven't seen Doctor Strange 2, but that will be on Disney Plus, I think, next week. So I'll be able to watch it there.
Sounds all right. I saw that one.
It's not, again, Squatch, it's not jazzercise. It's not. I don't have leg warmers or the wristbands or whatever the whole thing is.
You know what? Maybe that should be the contest of who gets the book. If you do a jazzercise video, send it in to you. Like we, the others will send it to you, and you have to pick the best one.
The best. I love that. That's even better than DVSM fan art. Is
if you can incorporate DVSM in it, alien head or something
on Instagram. You gotta tag me.
Yeah.
If I am impressed by your jazzercising, I will send you your free copy of They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers. And like, you know, the more hardcore you go into it, the better your odds. If you do like the headband and the wristbands and leg warmers, and it's like a hot pink something you're wearing, like, I mean, and go all out. Go all out. How badly do you want this book? Actually, no. I like the idea of fan art. I would love to see some fans' takes on DVSM stuff. I would give him the book just to stop. Like that would be, you know,
yeah.
Like
that's what I was thinking.
You win. That's it. Okay. I think doing this plaid jacket, if I remember right, I'm going to confirm this. I only have to draw it for like 1.5 more pages after this one, which is great because finally the protagonist is going to take this jacket off, and that is going to make my drawing life so much easier. So I'm going to concentrate on that as I do this plaid again. So, okay, Frank, here's the question.
Sure.
I was talking to Jim Lujan on the phone the other day.
Okay.
He threw out an interesting question, more of like a question for next time, like topic for next time. He was asking, well, we were talking about motivation, not like motivation, not in the way we normally talk about it. Like it's like what gets you your butt in the chair and, you know, the stick to it thing, like nose to the grindstone thing, not that. I mean, like not motivation, I guess motive. Like, why are you doing this? What are you after? What are you chasing? What are you what need are you satisfying? What do you think is
the end game?
As deep down as you can go, like there might be layers below that you can't recognize yet, but what do you think you're doing? Like, what is it like? Now you don't have to answer it. It's a big question. I couldn't answer it. It felt like that's why I was like, we'll talk about it more later. But well, I don't know. What's your initial reaction to that? And here's a sub question, and this is where I got sidetracked with it. Does it matter? Like, are there good and bad motivations? Like, are there good and bad motives, and does it matter? Like, so let's say hypothetically, you were doing comics because I don't know, some dickhead in grade school told you couldn't draw. So now you're still kind of chasing that. This is a made up scenario, but like in a very Freud, like a therapy way, like you're trying to prove, yes, I can. And that's the whole reason. That's kind of a weird motivation. That's kind of a bad motivation. You shouldn't be haunted by some jerk, you know, and like that shouldn't be motivating you. Like now your whole life is built around proving a jerk wrong. Like, but does it matter? Like, does it matter what your motive is? Does it not matter? Is it like, and anyone in the chat, like, you know, we've got a lot of creators in the chat. I guess first question is, do you think much about why you're doing it? And then sub question, does it matter why you're doing it? Do you think it matters why you do it? Are there good and bad reasons, or it doesn't matter? It doesn't, you know, that's a bit of trivia, but it doesn't really matter. There aren't any good or bad reasons.
Yeah. I think if if taking that scenario of the kid that's trying to prove to the other guy, if he ends up loving it and enjoying it and having fun, also, you know, like find success, then he can rethink, you know what, like the old motivation doesn't matter anymore, but I got what I wanted, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. But if it's like but if it's like it's not going anywhere and he's still trying to prove and like probably just, you know, I don't know, just move on. I don't know, because I want to tell anyone to quit, but like
Right.
If you're miserable, you probably.
So is that is it safe to say, in your opinion, as long as it's making you happy, it doesn't really matter where it comes from or why?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is like if it's good and it's improving your life, not that you're happy all the time, but because there are going to be times where like, oh, I'm doing this challenging piece or this is taking time.
Right. And happiness is a funny word, especially I think when it comes to creative stuff or being a creator, because I just listened to an interview, Mark Maron interviewed Phil Tippett. I think his first name's Phil. He's like famous stop motion special effects guy. Did like the stop motion effects in RoboCop 2 and, you know, like all these other movies. He did a little bit of work on Jurassic Park. He's got a movie out now that he'd been working on for like 30 years or something called Mad God. It's some stop motion sci-fi weirdo personal thing he made that I'm dying to see because I like weirdo personal art. But anyway, he said something in the interview that I've heard lots of artists say over the years, which is he's talking about the passion behind work, passion projects, the passion behind art, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's like the root word, like when you look at the word origin for passion, it's suffering. You know, and like, so for example, like Passion of the Christ or whatever like that, you're talking about like this great emotional, like suffering, you know, like that's happening with it. And that there's some aspect of that to a lot of creators that's kind of part and parcel to the process, especially if you're pushing, especially if you're like wanting it to be a certain way and you're falling short, like that can be kind of a miserable experience. Even if you love it, even if you love being a creator, like it's this constant, like, I don't know if it's a great comparison, but like Paul had said something on Facebook about how he used to do a little bit of boxing. Like, to me, that would be a perfect thing. Like, you might love boxing. That doesn't mean it's always fun. Like, sometimes you're getting hit in the face. Sometimes you're not as fast as the other guy or as strong as the other guy. Sometimes you're going to lose a fight, but you might still love boxing. To me, it's like, it's the same with art. Like, you might love it. There are days that are hard, and there's times that are hard, but you love it. So that's why it's like, you can say, like, does art make you happy? Yes, but it's a weird, like it's a complicated answer. It does not like art makes you happy in the same way that, the opening intro to Thundercats makes you happy. Or something where it's like in a very simple, easy way, uncomplicated. Yes, that makes me happy. No, it's a complicated happy.
And part of it, at least for me, it's like, if I'm doing something that I haven't done before and it's challenging and like, oh, like I like this, it's hard, but I like that I'm doing it. But I'm not like,
it's not like, oh, this is like, it's like a party. Like, hard to,
I think one of the last times in one of the chats, I think someone was talking about backgrounds. And I was saying, oh yeah, I'm doing backgrounds and thumbnails. I'm having fun, and I think it was Chase that said like Frank has like a different definition. Well, it's not like I'm just like, oh man, what a great time. It's like, but I'm enjoying the process, but I'm also like getting into the work. So it's
right.
Like, ooh, thumbnails.
Exactly. And it's very, look, I mean, especially now when I'm in the midst of drawing, which is 100% the hardest part of making a DVSM. Like, the ideas aren't as hard, the writing isn't as hard, the planning is like, none of it is as difficult as drawing. And it's, I wouldn't call it fun, but I would say I enjoy it, which I know for a lot of people that seems like a total contradiction. I like it, but it's not fun. I enjoy it, but I want a day off. Like, I get that doesn't make sense. Unless maybe you've done it or there's some equivalent, like I said, like the, boxing or working out, like that's the one I come back to a lot. Like, if you are going to the gym regularly, you're trying to achieve some goal there, I don't know, new weight or get into a new, whatever your thing is, like, you might get a lot of satisfaction from it. You might look forward to it. You might feel good about it. You might like yourself better when you're doing it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're struggling to bench like that new weight, I'd be surprised if you'd say like, yeah, it's fun. It's like, that's not a word you would use. You might like it. It's not fun.
Like, I think I'm on like my 15th day where I'm walking every day for 10,000 steps. And like, so it's just like doing those first 4,000, I'm like, But once I get to like 5,000, 6,000, and like, hey, it's a little easier. But like, I'm like, oh wow, I'm almost there. And like 10,000. So
Well, and if it's like,
and even then afterwards, like, oh well, at least I did it. But like, I'm tired, but like, I did it, and
but you feel good about doing it, probably. Because like, again, not jazzercise weights. Those are little hand weights for various yoga things. And, I can't tell you, there have been only a handful of times in my life where I was like, I'm excited to work out. And, it's always like a thing where you're not totally psyched. But then afterward, after you did it, after you made yourself do it, you parented yourself, you're like, no, you're doing this. Then you're like happy you did. And that, if people are looking for an analogy, or like something like this whole comic thing, it's sort of like that. It's sort of like that's what it's like when you finally get the comic done. You know, it is a lot of startup and it was hard and all that, but like, you know, once it's done, you're like, okay, I feel good. I feel good. And that's also what you end up chasing when you go to do it again. Like every time I finish a comic, you know, I take a couple months to try and promote a little bit and decompress a little bit and start fleshing out ideas for the next one. But I don't throw myself immediately into the next one because I need to kind of recharge my battery. But I always do want to go back. And usually it's chasing that feeling of getting a finished thing. It's again, like I talked a few weeks ago about, you know, the little step by step all the way up Everest. It's that moment at the peak where you get to like, I did it. Like that's kind of what you're after.
Yeah.
I think, you know?
Yeah. The end goal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You gotta spend some time on that peak. Now Jim is different, and I admire him for this. Like Jim, I don't know if it's okay that I won't go in, but like I think he's already, his gears are turning on the next animation. And that's only been out like a couple weeks or something. Like that's crazy. Like, but he's already like, you know, he's going to be working on the next one sooner rather than later. Like I need to luxuriate a little bit in the win. Like I need to, you know, I need to enjoy this moment a little bit because that will sustain me through the slog of, you know, doing it again. But. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I would say I wouldn't say working on a comic is fun. I would say it's satisfying. I would say I enjoy it, you know, like again in that kind of complicated way. I rarely fun is usually for me the writing part or like the concept sketching, like trying to come up with what something's going to look like. That's fun. Foo, again. You gotta help me out here. You gotta help me tamp down the Squatch activity. You're not helping. You're aggravating it.
I think Squatchy is telling Fu, if you want to be on my show again, you need to.
yeah. There's some comics have changed hands or something. I don't know. I don't like this alliance. This is not a good turn of events. I don't like the idea of Fu being part of the Squatchy clan or whatever. It's troubling. It's troubling. All right. I am making progress here. I know you're not seeing it, but you're just gonna have to believe me. There's work happening right now. I was telling Making Comic Guys, Scott and Keith today, I'm now adding to my list of things I never want to draw again. Every DVSM, I come out of it with a thing that if I can help it, I don't want to draw again.
Yeah.
For 75, it was cars. Cars are a pain in the ass. For 97, fortunately, it wasn't in it very much, but Jenny had this vintage embroidered kind of camera strap.
Okay.
And the camera itself was kind of a pain too. Like it's kind of like doing a car. It's a very technical, you know, getting all these little details right thing. Never want to do that again. This one, the plaid jacket, actually, it takes a lot of time. It's a pain in the butt. I whine about it a lot. But it's fine. The one that I am not going to do again, if if I can help it after this, is soldiers in uniform. I think I brought that up when I started the podcast or the live stream today, that it sucks. It sucks to do soldiers in uniform.
Oh yeah.
So many little details, so many things you need to check, especially when they're in multiple panels over and over and over. And then you get like the problem. Weapons are, that's also kind of like cars, where it's very specific, a lot of little details you want to get right. It just slows you down when you're drawing. And I'm kind of, now when I'm almost ready to say goodbye to Plaid Jacket, I'm ironically just getting to a point with it where I can do it pretty efficiently, just because I've had to do it a bunch of times now. But now, like, there are going to be some soldiers that start popping up, and that sucks. And some other things that would be spoilery to talk about. So, Frank, do you have anything planned for your birthday?
Well, I did have plans today, but they fell through. I was gonna go to the beach with a friend and his family, and then we're gonna barbecue and like around this time at his house. But it just it fell through on his end. He was waiting for some cash, but they're like, oh, not until next week. So so like, all right. So I just took a walk around to get some steps in, and it was just sketchy. And then also like the whole fiasco that I was telling you about, trying to see what's going on with that and trying to get some results, some answers. And I think they just had to ignore me.
Hope you go away.
Well, I was accused of something heinous, but since they kind of took it down, like, okay. But they're still talking about it off with other people, and like, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, I forgot there's the private chat here. So I can type it in here, just don't.
You could, if you want, or you can message me later on Facebook or something. Yeah. No kidding, Paul. What is that sound?
It's me typing.
Oh, okay. It's like. Yeah, Paul, I mean, with fans like these, who needs critics?
I type slow.
No hurry. The sound is kind of hilarious. I don't know what that sounds like, but it sounds like now I think because I have boxing on the brain because of Paul, it
sounds like punches.
Sounds like somebody like working a heavy bag in the other room or something. Pull, pull, pull. Now, everyone, I hope can hear that. Can you hear the heavy bag?
Yeah, I'm sure. People usually complain when my phone is vibrating and I'm typing.
I want everyone to have that picture in their head. A boxer in the other room.
for part 2.
This is creating a lot of dramatic buildup for me. This is.
Yeah.
You tell me when it's all in there. So,
Yeah, I think it's pretty much in there.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, that was exciting for people. A
Yeah.
minute of.
I know. People got weird ASMR for that. Dead air.
Stay on
Look.
scary.
Watch. It's one or the other. Either I'm working and there's dead air, or I'm being like talk show host and not working. So you pick your poison, man. Okay. Ugh. Oh, that is gross.
Everyone's heard that. Yeah, I went on Jeff's stream
annoying.
last night and talked a little bit about banning, and then one of the main mods decided to discredit me because I mentioned him as being one of the ones that behind the tree.
Well, yeah, I
Do you
hope
ever
that's,
wear goggles in your? I don't slice onions.
It does sound like it sounded. Now that I think about it, a little bit like an electric type, like the old school electric typewriters with like the little ball thing. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm getting a call, so I think a friend of mine said he was gonna come and pick me up. So
I was just about to say, like, I think I've gone as far as I can fumbling with this while also talking and checking chat. So it's almost been 2 hours. I think I'm gonna log off.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything you want to plug before I cut this?
Yeah, if you go on Turako Comics on my link tree, I got some digital comics there. I'm trying to push those a little bit more just to kind of help when I do have to mail something out physically, I have the money for it, so I don't have to mess with the digital shipping. There's a coloring book there. You want to print it out. There's like 16 pages. I think it's like one of my best works. It's the backgrounds I was working on plus some extra stuff. So even if you just want to have some cool black and white digital art, it's there. I think it's like $4. So you can go check it out on my Gumroad, Salazar Nation Comics. So,
cool. And then let's see here. Chase, I just noticed this better draw the plaid than, 100%. This is why the plaid's taking a while, because it's following the contours of the jacket. And it's like, it would be real easy. If I had a style that was less realistic, I don't know that's the right word for it, I would just find plaid, put it over, and then erase around, like basically like paper, what did the paper doll it around it, and it would be that it was flat. Like there are styles where you can do that. This actually is kind of more true to the flow of the garment, which takes time. Hello, good evening to you too. I'm sorry, like you can watch the replay that we're not really intending to shut the party down just because you showed up. I apologize. So recap. Okay, first of all, still in stock on my Etsy shop if you're interested in my work.
I'm gonna have to go.
1975. Are you heading off?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming by.
All right. Bye.
DVSM 1975 is about Men in Black. It's the earliest story in the DVSM continuity. It will always be the first story in the continuity, even though now we're going to be skipping around in the timeline. 97 is about an eyewitness, saw something she shouldn't have seen, and now she's in deep. Both are still in stock. Both are available in my Etsy shop. If you follow, I have links on this YouTube channel. If you go to the About section, I have links on my Instagram. You'll be able to find it. Anyway, think about, it'll probably be a fan art thing, but think about, I have one of these books about Men in Black to give away. Think about some way to figure out who gets it. I think DVSM fan art. That's not official yet. Don't start drawing now. You know, like if that's why you're doing it. If you want to do it just for fun, please do it. I would share it. I would, share your Instagrams. I would share your drawing. But I'm thinking I like that idea of maybe doing fan art for this. We'll see, but think about it. I'll be thinking about it too, how to give one of these away to somebody for free. And then Keith Foster's and Scott Lost's Kickstarters are nearing the end. I'm going to, when this is re-uploaded, I'm going to update the description to have those links. Consider checking them out and supporting them. And finally, actually, there will be one after, so not finally. My buddy Josh Kimball, he's got a new book out. It's actually, I think, the first thing he ever, like the first book he ever finished and, did everything on. But now it's coming out. 2 stories came out and then they went back and he put out this thing, which was his first thing. Like I said, I'm hoping to drag him on maybe next weekend or the weekend after, sometime soon, because rather than just do my review of the book, I would rather have him on and talk to him about it and ask questions. And like I said, Charlie Rose-ish, but less inappropriate touching. Not no inappropriate touching, less inappropriate touching. And then finally, check out Jim Lujan's latest animated film, Sugar Machine. It's great. I love it. It's funny and weird. It's all the things you want from a Jim Lujan production. And I swear this has nothing to do with my affection for it. I do have a small part in it, a little voice acting, a couple scenes. It was really fun to do. So, but he deserves all the exposure and clicks and eyes on his work that he can get. So right now, as a matter of fact, you're on YouTube. Go to Jim Lujan's channel, watch Sugar Machine. I think it's 25 minutes or something. It's a low commitment. Yes, I agree, Squatch. Sugar Machine is rad. And Jim Lujan is rad. So support that guy. He doesn't even ask you for any money. He's just giving his shit away on YouTube. It's crazy. So just watch some of his movies. There's a few. Sugar Machine is the latest one. Watch that one first, for sure. My favorite after that, boy, let me think about this. I'm going to look at I don't want to forget the wrong thing and later regret. Let me just make sure. I know the one I want to say, but I want to look to see if I'm forgetting one. Man, this is tough. I do really love Cherries in the Snow. I do really love Mind of Lars Lazarus. But I think my favorite after Sugar Machine. Oh, Pleasure Beast 2. God, that's tough. I think I'm going to put Sugar Machine number 1. I'm going to put Infinity Pool number 2. And then maybe Pleasure Machine after. I don't know. I think it's really tough. But those are my top 2. Is Sugar Machine and Infinity Pool. Anyway, check them out. Like, well, yeah, what other did anyone else want to shout out their favorite Jim Lujan? Okay. Thanks for dropping in. We're right now at the 2-hour mark. I'm going to log off. I'm going to make myself a snack, and then I'm going to draw for the rest of the night because I still have my eye on the prize of finishing page 18, this page, tonight, so I can move on to page 19 tomorrow morning. That's the goal. That's the most, it's the most challenging goal, but also I think attainable. It's not a ridiculous goal of like, what if I finished the whole comic this weekend? That's ridiculous. But I think I can finish page 18 tonight and start 19 tomorrow. I'll let you know next weekend if I manage. Okay. Talk to you later, everybody. Thanks for coming by.